Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to this week's episode of an A to Z Guide to Being a Creative Genius. And this week we're going to look at S for support. How do we support ourselves as creative geniuses? How do we support the fullest expression of our creativity in every single aspect of our life? To have the right support put in place is absolutely paramount, not just for enabling us to do the best that we can, but also just to keep us sane, to keep us healthy, to keep us in balance. Otherwise, it's very easy and very sudden for us to end up in overwhelm, burnout, exhaustion. We might get filled with anxiety, depression, fear, resistance, things that can completely paralyze us. We might find that our distractions and addictions suddenly have started to take more of our time and energy, pulling us away from what it is that we say that we're really wanting to create and manifest and to bring from a dream into reality. There are so many ways that we can go out of balance if we've not got the right support as our foundation. I'm going to just pop in the description box below a link to an article in my website where I'm going to put loads of resources for you, articles, books, people that I speak about, so that you can take time, if you'd like to, after this video to pop on over there. So I see our support system being like bricks in the foundation stones of our life. So we're going to play with this today. So the first of these bricks is love. It's love. First off, we have to love whatever it is that we want to be doing. It kind of goes without saying, but it's really worth checking in with that. There has to be enough love for and passion and desire. Otherwise, what's the point really? There's going to be things that we will need to sacrifice. There's going to be times where we are going to graft and grind and hustle and put in much more than maybe possibly we would like to in order to fulfill what it is that is being asked of us to do, so that we can make this dream a reality. This applies in a very practical way to how we literally look after ourselves, kind of basic needs. So are we getting enough sleep? Sleep is one of the most magical medicines that we can put in place to support our health on every single level. For me, that also includes siestas. Siestas are a wondrous thing. Are we eating properly? Getting the right kind of nourishments and foods to give us energy, to make us feel and look good. Also, are we getting enough rest? Are we able to put down when we need to what it is that we are working on? And again, especially at the beginning, or especially when times are flourishing and busy, it can be very easy to not stop, really. It can be one of our addictions to busyness, to working all the time. And also exercise. Moving the body is just absolutely vital, not just for the physical health of looking after our body, but also it just shakes things out, it gets things moving again if we've got a little bit stagnant and stuck, including if we've run into creative blocks in any way, or we can't figure out an answer to something. So it doesn't matter what your chosen form of exercise is. I love to dance, I love to stretch my body, yoga, swimming. Sex is a wonderful form of exercise if you're able to bring that into your life more, at least to enjoy and to see that supporting your creativity and pleasure, all for pleasure. Love also includes our support network, and that includes our friends, it includes our tribe, it includes our community, others who are also on the same path that we're doing, so it could be professional groups. Your tribe, your family, your network will encourage you, will celebrate with you, will appreciate you, will keep you at that edge when you need to, will allow there to be an accountability, but also your friends will be the ones that will come and see you at your gigs, will show up for your exhibition, and will be there for you. Our friends are invaluable. We only need one. We only need one person who is fully able to show up and be there for us. And obviously vice versa as well. I think one of the things that we find difficult, many of us find difficult, and Amanda Palmer talks about this in her beautiful book, The Art of Asking, is exactly that. How good are you at asking for help when you need it? Asking for support, asking for what you need, asking for help. This could be something to inquire. You don't have to do it all on your own. We need each other. We need each other. We're all in this together. So as Danielle Laporte says in one of her truth bombs, and I absolutely love this, find your tribe, love them hard. It's beautiful, hey? Absolutely beautiful. Another way that we can bring love in as a support is to take our art, whatever it is, and treat it as a lover. So essentially taking life as your lover. It brings a whole different quality to the relationship we have with whatever it is that we are invested in becoming and creating. When we recognize that we're in a relationship to whatever it is, we can then begin to have a dialogue. We can ask life questions, we can ask our art questions. What does it need? How can I support you today? You can take your own inner artist out on a date. You can treat her or him well. It just brings another dimension of play and pleasure and joy into our creative expression, into our creativity, into life itself. Take life as your lover. Sounds nice, doesn't it? Sounds good. Why not? So we're going to move on to our second brick. And this one is time and space. Time and space are probably our most valuable assets. Interesting, isn't it, when we think about what we value? Do you value your time? What do you do with your time? Do you see your time as important, especially your creative time? How do you use it? And also, what then do you do in that time, in that space that exists in that time? How do you use that space? How do you show up for that space? Do you value the space? In Women Who Run with the Wolves, which is a classic book by Clarissa Pinkola Estes, she talks about our creativity and how to support it. And I absolutely love this. She says that there are times when we have to get absolutely fierce about protecting our creative space. We have to bare our teeth. We have to growl and snarl and be very, very clear that if someone is coming along or something is coming along to take away that space or to take us away from that space, that we are absolutely and utterly we bring the wildness of us, the wild part of us out to go, this is what I am valuing. No. Valuing your time and your space, even if nothing happens in that space, even if you're full of resistance in that space, showing up is absolutely, it's just vital, isn't it? Anything can happen when we give ourselves time and space. There is also something here around the kind of environment, the space that we're creating for our creativity, whether that's taking ourselves out to sit in a workspace somewhere, our studio, our office, whether it's a place in our home, whether it's just the space at the end of our dining room table. Valuing that space each time we enter it is just even to notice that, maybe saying a little thank you, or here I am now, or this is time, a little prayer towards what it is that you are creating, can just help to shift something, just help to bring on board a little extra sense of committing. Which leads us into our third brick, which is discipline. Bum, 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 discipline. So that word could conjure up all sorts of things to you, and you might have a completely negative reaction to, ugh, discipline. I just find that suffocating. It's not me. It doesn't allow my artist. And paradoxically, the more that we are in respect of discipline and apply that, the more freedom we have, the more we find that time and space becomes available and much more useful for us. Gabrielle Roth says that it takes discipline to be a free spirit, and I absolutely think that's correct. Discipline means to be a disciple of, to be in devotion of that which is recognized as sacred to us, as something bigger than us. So if we're clear about our why, if we're clear about our calling, if we feel that love is really supporting what it is that we want to do, then that's really what we're in devotion to. That's what we keep aligning the compass of ourselves with each time we kind of veer off, or, I can't be bothered, or procrastination or laziness might come in. Discipline also requires of us to create a routine and a structure to support the space and the time, and that will be unique to you. Boundaries is also something that comes into this as well, into this protecting of that frame, our ability to say no, our ability to recognize that maybe we say yes too many times and we don't really want to, and that will exhaust us and that will leave us feeling a little bit flat. It also means that we keep emptying ourselves. There is that saying, isn't there, that you can't pour from an empty well, and it's absolutely true. You need to be able to look after yourself first. So there are many times when you'll need to say no, which may be new for you, maybe people around you who won't like that all of a sudden, and that's part of the risk and the strength and the courage in saying that fuck yes to living your fullest creative life. And actually, at the end of the day, you'll be a much more open and generous and loving and beautiful soul, because you'll be filled so much with what you find enjoyable, what you love, that will spill out onto relationships with those around you. So it's a kind of a win-win. Pretty much for all of us, when we have this dream of our creativity, whatever it is, it probably doesn't include hours spent at a desk or in an office or in a job that you're not really that into. It doesn't feel like it supports your creative, who you are as a creative being. Now, unless you are one of the very, very few that can afford not to have another job on the go, then it's likely that this is going to be the case. Certainly at the beginning, perhaps always. And something else here as well, there is nothing like putting the pressure of making money onto your creativity to completely and utterly kill it. Absolutely stone dead, to zap it of any pleasure, zap it of any joy. To squeeze the juice out of it. That's not what our creativity is for. Yes, how amazing it would be and will be and can be if our creativity ultimately helps us to live, to support us, not just to survive but to thrive. And that is absolutely possible, of course it is. But don't put that pressure on it. Yeah. Instead, develop a different relationship to the other work that you do. See how much it helps to support your creative life, and also see if you can develop a different perspective when you go into work. Rather than seeing that as separate from the creative you, see it as still a part of. Which leads me on to our next brick of our support, which is patience. Patience. I read somewhere recently that, can't remember which way round this is, but it's either genius is patience or patience is genius. Probably both. We want everything to happen now. We live in such a quick fix world these days that unless we are successful, unless things are thriving from the get-go or within like a few moments, then we get frustrated and bored and start to look elsewhere. That ability to stay with and to be committed to is, again, it's absolutely imperative for our health really, and for our peace of mind and for our joy. One of the ways that we can really connect with patience is, and also this feeds us on every single level, is being in nature. Going into your garden, walking barefooted, going to the parks, going to sit by the sea, going to hug a tree, just getting out into nature when you can. Even looking up at the sky, even just stopping on a busy street, just stopping and just dropping back into your own nature, into your own breath. Nature's pace is slow. It's actually our body's pace, really. We've forgotten this with the busy pace of society where we are constantly losing ourselves because we can't really keep up with this false busyness that's going on around us. Nature is such the greatest teacher of patience because it has trust. It doesn't even have trust, it just is trust. And it is faith that after winter, spring will come, new life will grow. After spring, the flowers will come, the fruits will be born. After that time, things will start to fall away. Then winter will come where things will seem bare again, but so much is happening underground. So not only is nature a great way for us to learn and to be in and to feel that quality of patience, but it also reminds us of our creative cycle, that everything has a cycle, including especially our creativity. So that yes, there will be periods of time when you are just filled with creative ideas, when you are feeling like you've got so much energy, you're getting loads of work done. And there will be times, kind of the opposite to that, when it seems like nothing is happening, when there's a plateau. And rather than struggle or resist this, which can cause so much of our suffering, unnecessary suffering, if we can learn about our own cycles and how that works for us, it's just, again, a massive amount of relief and an incredible powerful tool to have, because then we can do other things at that time. We can just allow, knowing that stuff's happening, and instead just enjoy life more, take that time to rest more, to have a break, to go and read and enjoy other things that have got nothing to do with the business or the project that you're actually involved in at that time. So we're going to move on now to our next brick, which is choices. Knowing we have choices is a very powerful way of supporting ourselves. And there are 3 questions I just want to offer to you here for you to play with. The first one is, does this choice support the life that I am creating? Does this choice support my dreams, my truth, my why? Or is it supporting my ego, my fears, my distractions, and so on? Interesting, hey? Also, does this choice support my values? What's dear to me? What's important to me? What feels most alive in me? And also, another question here with choice is around our definition of success. What does success mean to you? Because it means something different to all of us. And I do believe that that's a really good and honest thing to have in place, to be just very clear about, really. Then we're going to come to balance. You've got to have balance in your life. Otherwise there's no life, really. You've got to know when to stop. You've got to know when to let your hair down, play out, have fun. Sometimes having a really big night out, or just some time with some friends and having a good laugh and maybe a glass of wine or 2 is just the biggest thing to reset your soul, especially if you're working a lot, you're incredibly focused. Also, being able to let go of the expectations around what you're doing is another way to bring in a balance and an ease into your life. That you're doing what you're doing the best that you can, you're doing it because you love this and you're passionate and you're showing up, you're valuing your time and your space. And then actually the results of what you're doing are out of your control. But it's a massive one to be able to let go of expectations and the attachments to the outcome. It just keeps clearing the way, it keeps emptying ourselves so we're not walking around very full and burdened and heavy. And also to remember that life is this constant recalibrating, this kind of tightrope walker, this ebb and this flow, this coming in and then this surrendering out again, this receiving of, and then this ability to offer and express. It's a constant kind of wave-like movement. So one of the ways that we can check if we've gone out of balance is whether you feel like everything's too much in, or you're kind of doing this too much kind of outwards. So we really need to be able to, almost like we're being played like a musical instrument. So the last one that we're going to look at today, the last brick, is the professionals. The professionals. This has two aspects to it. The first is, are you taking yourself seriously? Are you taking what you do in a professional manner? Or are you still stuck in a kind of amateur way of thinking about what you're doing? And the amateur way can be, as Steven Pressfield talks about in his book Turning Pro, and a lot of the things that he speaks about, sometimes it's just a shift of attitude towards that discipline and that showing up and the commitment towards our work, no matter what stage you're at. The other aspect of professionals is, do you need extra support from others that can help you? So one of those can be people like myself. I'm a creativity coach. You might need a mentor who's someone very specific to your chosen field. It might be that you need to go on extra trainings or courses or workshops or retreats to help you to build the technical aspects and to further develop what you're doing. It could also be working one-to-one with people in order to evolve the practical business side or marketing side of what you do. It might be that you need to see, or you would like to see, a counsellor or a therapist. You need to work through something that you are aware of is really underpinning a lot of your beliefs and how to move forward and thrive in your own life. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a wonderful thing and resource that we have available. So once again, thank you so much for your time and your attention and for being here. I've really enjoyed exploring these aspects of support. Let me know in the comments below anything that really rang true for you or made you think, or anything else that's come up that you know you need to support your life, your art, your heart, relationships, your business, and so on. Please like this video if you haven't done so already. I really appreciate that. Subscribe. That's very helpful as well. Please share this on any of your platforms so that others might also find a little bit of inspiration here. If you head on over to my website, you can sign up to my monthly Frida Friday newsletter / Little Arty magazine. It seems to be transforming itself into that these days. And I really look forward to seeing you next week for another episode. And I hope you have a wonderful and nourishing and supportive week. Thank you so much. Bye.